Hello and welcome to Social Media for Humans, the podcast that empowers you to do social differently. Your host, Alexis Bushnell, and her guests discuss their experience of social media as business owners, users, and ultimately humans, with insights and advice to help you find an effective and ethical strategy that works for you. Grab yourself a drink and join the conversation.
Hello. I am here with wonderful Mel, who is an amazing musician. So do you want to tell us precisely who you are and what you do?
Hi, Alexis. I'm Mel Biggs. My pronouns are she, her, and I am Mel Biggs Music, which is my Instagram handle, Facebook handle, everything handle. And I am a musician and melodeon teacher. So my instrument it comes under many names, which can get a bit confusing, but melodeon, squeeze box, diatonic accordion, which is the posh way of saying
wow,
an accordion.
I see. I'm gonna guess that's quite a niche audience that you are sort of speaking to.
Yeah, pretty niche. Excuse me while I close the window, I can hear the wind getting involved. So I grew up on the folk music circuit, and I know that folk music has become more wide and diverse over the last sort of 20 years or so. But for me, it was Morris dancing, it was folk festivals, sort of rituals throughout the year, traditional rituals. And that's kind of how I got involved with the folk scene. And just through talking to people, having conversations, going to workshops, learning from other experts and other musicians, I kind of just fell into it as a career. It just seemed like a very natural progression for me. And, you know, my chattiness just, I don't know, it's all about connections and network, and we do refer to it as the folk family. So that feels very nice. And, there's always somebody that knows someone else that you know, and, that whole kind of 6 degrees of separation is like 1 degree of separation. So, And so within that little, it feels big to us, but it is very kind of underground, kind of not mainstream. There are little niches within that, instrumentalists, players of this instrument, and the melodeon is niche, and so therefore you have to go looking for and mine your niche, as I say. You've got to go find who's out there and where they're hiding.
So where did you find them hiding?
Initially on a chat forum called Mellodionnet, which was set up by a couple of chaps, Theo Gibb and Clive Williams, I believe, are the kind of masterminds behind it. And it's been going for donkey's years, and it can get very territorial, I find. I don't actually spend a lot of time on there. It's quite dominated by male views. I'm just going to say that because it's a difficult sort of bit of territory to navigate, but everyone's got an opinion and everyone will share their opinion, and the threads become very diverse very, very quickly, and frankly I don't have time or energy for it, so I very rarely participate, which, as somebody that wants to get involved in community, it's like the hub of the melodeon world internationally. It's a sore point for me, but I've had too many backlashes, and I'm just like, nah, I'll create my own spaces where I can kind of reign over my space and be in charge of my space, and kind of create my own community. So that's really where my efforts are focused. Hopefully that doesn't come across badly. It's not to do with that. We've got to make our own kind of space, haven't we? Make it safe for ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the thing is that there are a lot of established spaces are established by like cishet white men, because that has been what has been normal. And so as other people who aren't those people are entering those spaces, there is a lot of like differences of opinion and differences in understanding of what is okay and why it is a problem to say this and why it is a problem to promote that. And I think it is powerful for the people who don't, quote, fit in those spaces to find somewhere else and build their own community, because not only does it show like there is a call for a community that is different to the established ones, but it opens it up to other people who aren't maybe in the space to create their own community but want to connect with people and don't feel safe in those long established spaces. So I don't think it's sort of a bad thing at all. I think it's a really good thing to open it up to other people like that.
Totally. I think for me, it's realizing that my main demographic is cis het white men, and I've never really been open in my professional hat on talking about those issues, but I am a feminist, and on my personal profile I go off on one. I'm sure people would say that about me, but I don't feel that. Occasionally there are topics that I will want to mine and discuss a bit deeper, but I'm not I don't like to think of myself as being like a bottle that's about to explode, because it's not education and it's not friendly, and that's what I'm about, you know, predominantly. So yeah, within my world of you know, professional hat on, I am talking to predominantly men, but I have a lot of women on, you know, students, and I do get to sort of see a large part of the community that find me and, you know, find something different in me, and I love that. I think, you know, I create connections well with anybody, but I particularly have a soft spot for my women players, because they, I don't know, I don't know if this has got any truth to it, but it's seen as this male instrument, and it's probably because the top pros that are out there, the ones that have got, you know, the big careers, most of them are blokes, you know. So it's I don't know, it's kind of nice to find the women that are doing the good stuff, and you know, really supporting that. And I'm proud to be one of them. I have to say, I'm proud to be among them. So yeah, and it is like, representation is so important, and like you said, like if you look at those the big players out there in any industry, and they're primarily men, there is something that happens in your brain as a woman, and certainly it's something that I've had myself, is that you look and go like, well, they're all men, so it's just, you know, women aren't as good at that thing. And that's not actually the case. It's just that women generally don't get to the top for various other reasons. So yeah, it is important to sort of shout out and support the women who are changing that, and who are working to sort of get up there and be like, hey, yes, you can do this. Women are doing this. I think the big thing for me is, as I say, with my professional hat on my professional social medias, I can't think of any post recently where I talk about those issues. And, you know, following you, as I have done now, I don't know how many months, but Trudy, one of your previous chat people at Paw Prints and Life is a Piece of Cake, she's a friend who put me on to you. So I've been following you for a little while, and the kind of the human aspect is where I try and come from. So I guess I speak mostly from my own personal experiences, and sometimes that does involve the way that women are spoken about and treated on the folk scene, because that is a conversation that I am tangibly part of. But mostly I try and focus on my brand and talking about what I offer as a Mellodion teacher, and why you should come to me as your Mellodion teacher. And I try and make that as positive as possible and as shiny as possible. I believe I work in a different way to a lot of tutors, and I certainly promote myself in a different way to a lot of folk artists on the scene. And I want to be seen as somebody that cares and, you know, takes your experiences and your mental health and your everything into consideration when you come to me. Because I believe if we've got those blockages, the music doesn't really flow. And, you know, in order to get the best out of a lesson with me, we've got to be able to find a way of talking about that, using it as a tool in our music. And particularly over this last year, a lot of my students have really struggled, just motivation to pick up the instrument and get involved. But, you know, I've got a lot of tools up my sleeve, and we get through and keep people motivated and keep them happy and keep them talking, keep that conversation going in the spaces that I habit.
So yes, on your mental health and talking about stuff, especially this past year, you have released a new album, which I believe was very informed by your own sort of journey with your mental health.
Yes. So Sorry, was I jumping in? Did you
No, it's all right. Jump away.
So it's not quite released just yet. We have had to push it back a little bit because of COVID and lockdown. We've had just to wait until we could do things, but I've got the majority of it done before Christmas. So yeah, we're very close. Sometime in May is the big release. And I was in the studio yesterday doing the mastering and the final tweaks and everything, and I'm so proud of it. It's been a 14-year plus journey in order to create this this album, and it came about through my own reflections on my mental health journey and its connection and really cohabitation with my journey through the folk world and growing up with Mellodion and writing music. And the Mellodion and making music really was my safe space. I created it as a place to go and hide and play music for hours on end when I didn't understand the feelings that I was experiencing and the emotions that I was going through. And I wasn't able to talk about it or express it in any other way. So I found solace in my instrument and in spending time in particular places with certain people, playing music together and just enjoying the frivolity. Anything to really distract me from my own mind. So yeah, and from a lot of those dark places, I mean, I had a full-on mental health breakdown at the end of my degree in my third year, and it really did take nearly a decade to get over that and process through that. There was also a very painful breakup in that decade, which kind of sent me on another downward spiral. And every time I just turned to the Mellodion, and my creative brain would just start whirring away. And I think it's one of those kind of creative curses in a way that, some of my best work is made in my darkest times. And hence from darkness comes light, which is the whole ethos behind the album. And yeah, I mean, I can write music when I am not in the darkest times. I have learned that about myself. But the album itself spans a year. So it's kind of a journey of the seasons through mental health, mood, and folk, and the traditions that we experience throughout the year, and the way the light changes and the interlinks with mood and mental health. Which obviously the albums have been done before on a cyclical, seasonal basis, but I don't think I've ever seen one that's been mental health influenced. So yeah, my self-confidence is what's held me back from doing this sooner. I was reflecting over the weekend and thinking, with the situation we're in now with COVID and long COVID and people experiencing mental health when they maybe haven't before, there's so many more people out there that understand what it feels like, or have partners or relatives that are going through stuff that they've never had to deal with before. And in a way, I'm so proud that this album has a chance to be part of that environment, because what my real aim for it is that it gives people a moment of reflection and peace, something beautiful that they can put on and listen to, and it takes them somewhere else. So one of my big things is trying to mix the audio and the visual. I'm a synesthetic person. I'm not neurotypical, in case you hadn't guessed already. So I'm exploring my diagnoses with that, and there's some blogs that I wrote about that, because that's quite new for me. But it makes me realise that there are things that happen in my head that other people don't experience, but it means my music speaks from a place in the world, or a place in my mind that you might have been to, or you might have experienced. And a big passion behind the production of this album is not just the tune, but the arrangement, to try and make it feel like a landscape or an atmosphere or a mood or an emotion. And from the few people that I've shared it with so far that haven't been directly involved, everyone has said, well, I was somewhere and I did feel that. So, I mean, job done. I mean, I honestly, I know everyone will experience it slightly differently, which is the beauty of art, but I am so proud that it's working for other people.
Yeah. So has that helped your self-confidence then? Are you somebody who, if you get that sort of external validation, does that genuinely boost your self-confidence? Or is it that sort of brief hooray, and then you still feel the same, really?
So that used to be me. What the latter thing there, that used to be me, and it was for many years. Like I relied on other people, mentors. I must mention Andy Cutting. He's a dear friend. He's another Mellodionista, lives very locally to me, and he was paid to mentor me for a year, but he basically continued off his own back to just be a mate and just be at the end of the phone if I needed him. And he is one of the people, along with my parents, along with my bandmates, other people on the scene, many, who believed in me, told me I was fantastic and brilliant, but I just, in one ear out the other, I was like, yeah, thanks, but I know me, and I know I'm rubbish really, and I'm, imposter syndrome and all of that horrible, crappy stuff that we feel. It can still bubble up, but it was, I think, going through hypnotherapy, and I've been through various forms of therapy over the last decade, but hypnotherapy really gave me an opportunity to free myself from anxiety, and that really was the baseline for me for years, was just this everyday level of anxiety that would spike, and then depression would come after that. So it was just this continuous rolling, horrible, tumultuous feeling, ball of feelings. But yeah, with hypno, we got through that, and I honestly never thought I would be free of anxiety, but I have been, and it still is obviously there because we all experience it as humans. But I am able to cope with it better, and it doesn't consume me. So it allows me to believe in myself, and I do hold that now as something that I'm capable of these things, and I don't rely on that validation anymore. It's nice when it happens, and I can kind of treat it as this moment between that person who complimented me, and it's like, thank you so much, that's so genuine of you to say that, but it doesn't really affect me either way. I don't get that high off of knowing that I've done a good job. I don't get the low if I don't get those comments. And I think that's important. When I go and release this and get the reviews in, I'll read the reviews, and it will be great to see other people's opinions, but I won't feel swayed either way. For me, this has been a success, this journey.
That's good. That's really good. And so would you say that, because I know you crowdfunded for the album, so I'm going to guess here that up until you had sort of moved past that anxiety, you would never have launched a crowdfunding thing.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, the whole project just sat on the back burner for years because I thought, I'm not good enough yet. I can't play good enough yet to do my music justice. I mean, just think about that for a second. I write these pieces and I don't think I can play them well enough. I mean, honestly, the opening track, it's called Dream Big. And you have to go in. I realized this when I started recording it. I was like, I have to believe in myself to get the best out of this track. So it's like I've created this piece that you've got to be what it tells you to be, in order to do it justice. And I'm so proud of that opening track. But to go back to what you were saying, the whole project wouldn't have got going if I hadn't got to that stage. And working with John Looms at Talking Cat, he's been my recording artist, but also a dear friend who's, for the last 5 or 6 years, we've had this plan to make an album. And every year we'd see each other at festivals and he's like, are you ready yet? Do you want to start? And I'm like, no. And it's just every year we'd have a conversation. And then finally, just before lockdown, we kind of got the dates in the diary. And it was like, oh, what do we do now? And I was like, no, I'm not going to let it put me off. I kind of wanted to get through it. I was like, I've committed now. I'm not going to let it go. And I think that really was, you put together a crowdfunder. It's an enormous amount of work. I mean, thanks to my lovely mum, she helps me with the budget and she helps me with the social media as well. She does my Twitter for me, my mum. She loves Twitter. She takes part in that a lot better than I do. We did really well out of the crowdfunder. It was, we got over what we asked for, and it was 212 backers. I checked this morning and reminded myself, 212 people. That feels incredible. Loads of people I've never heard of as well. It was amazing.
Yeah. How did you get it out there then? Because crowdfunding is it is an art in itself, I would say. There's a lot of different things that go into getting it out to the right people. and asking for stuff in the right way and explaining what they're going to get if they support you. So talk to me about like that whole journey, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I've run crowdfunders in the past for my band, my trio, and I put that together. So we'd got some past experience, and we chose to use Kickstarter, which is you take a bit of a risk. If you don't make your target, you don't get anything. But that was another moment of, oh, is it good enough? Are people going to believe? But we did it anyway, and we got over. So yeah, we put together a schedule. It ran for a month. So we knew we had 30 days, and I posted something every day, whether it was just a little tidbit. I didn't try to bombard people. I didn't want people to get bored of it. What I tried to do was come up with content that was different every day, but something that gave a different aspect of the project. And the other thing here as well that was important for me is that people invested in an ongoing project, and my ideas for phase 2 is the visual work. So it's for me to listen to the music and create artwork from those experiences. So there is kind of that idea that your money is not going to go to waste. And I kind of try to communicate that through social media, sharing bits of my artwork from previous experiences of this synesthetic process. And that it kind of, I found that it engaged with different segments of my community that I didn't necessarily know were that on it, or that interested in those aspects, I suppose. And that, I suppose, is where I'm putting the highlights on this personal confidence journey, is that there's a lot of strings to my bow. And if I talk about all of them, it's going to zing with other people, within my community. It's not just about teaching the Mellodion. There's a lot more that people are here for. I've got a Patreon community as well, so I sort of share a few more details of the behind the scenes things with them. There were a few blogs that were just for them. I did put a lot of blogs on my website, so I wanted to talk about the full journey, and every Sunday for the month I was doing a long blog. And that a very few people read those and interacted with it, but again, it opened up a conversation about mental health, about things other people have been through. Some people that hadn't realized what they were going through, but when they read my blog, it was like, oh, that's a thing. I mean, that's the most brilliant thing when you talk about mental health, is when you help somebody on their journey. And that's why I started talking about it in the first place, quite a few years ago now, actually. But for me to work it into my professional life and talk about it on my professional media, social media, that's been more recent. But this project has enabled me to open up about that a lot more. I think the fear is that you're going to lose business. Basically, people aren't going to want to work with you, but the opposite's happened for me, and I hope that that's the same for other people as well. So yeah, trying to choose content, bits of video, short bits of video, talking about the music, talking about my inspiration, linking people back to my website to read the blogs, and just kind of trying to create that flow and get people to share it, obviously, and literally asking people, thank you if you can contribute, but if you can't afford to right now, just share it. I mean, it's free. Just kind of help a guy out, So
yeah, I think that it's something that I tend to talk about a lot, especially to sort of small business owners, because a lot of there are so many businesses around calls to action. People assume has to only be sales, or asking for the donation, the support, whatever. And also there is this assumption from a lot of small business owners that social media users understand how social media works, so they don't have to say, share this, it's free and it helps. Leave a review, it's free and it helps. Leave a comment, it's free and it helps. But most people who use social media they're not invested in social media. They don't know that how much a difference sharing somebody's content makes or leaving a comment makes. And so actually saying those things in your posts and saying, like, if it's okay if you can't financially support me, that's absolutely fine. Here are some things you can do that are free and make a huge difference to me. Because there are so many, especially this past year, a lot of people want to support small creators, small businesses, but a lot of people are not in a place to financially support them themselves. And so to be able to share someone's stuff and support them in another way is really powerful for people, because they feel like they have helped that person they care about, that business that they think is awesome, but they haven't had to put themselves in a situation that they can't put food on the table or whatever that month. So it is so important to actually ask for those things, and it seems to be something that is so difficult for people, just to say, like, please share this. It really, really helps.
Yeah. No, and you see it a lot, or you see the opposite, where people just put a post out, there's no link, there's no, like you say, call to action, and it, in a way, it's kind of like, oh well, that's nice, scroll on past. But it's that mental trigger, isn't it? Though, just seeing those words, if you relate to the content and you like the creator, it's like, oh yeah, I'll give that a like, I'll give that a share, you know. And it's just such a simple sentence to put at the end of a post, you know. And I do it without thinking now. I mean, I generally don't post anything, mostly to Facebook, because where you've got live links, or YouTube I use. So anywhere you can have a live link, I will always put a link to something that will hopefully signpost to something else. Yeah, I think I've been doing that for years now, and it's kind of, it pays off. You know, you can kind of track the traffic that goes to your website from the links that you post. And as I say, not everyone will want to read a 2,000 word blog, but for those that do, they get that extra insights. But then there's loads of fluffy stuff that I put out as well, like little videos on Instagram and my YouTube channel that I upload something weekly to. So if you want just the musical content, there you go, that's there for you. But I'm trying to use my Instagram and my Facebook slightly differently now. I find that Facebook is very good for talking to my demographic and wider demographic, narrow demographics. It's kind of like where I feel my main hub is as Mel Music. But what I've never been very good, and this has been from school, at getting on with my own age group. But I want to know cool young people that play the Mellodion. Where are the queer musicians at? You know, it's like, where are you guys? I mean, I know lots of them on the English scene, but on Instagram, there's this amazing global network of young folk musicians that I follow a lot of them, but I'm not very good at interacting. And I'm trying to use my Instagram slightly differently to try and find those networks, just to see what comes of that, really, just to see if there's any interest in what I'm doing, what they're doing, you know, just growing that network in my own age group, I guess. But it's not something I try that hard at, but you try a few different hashtags now and again, and follow a few different people now and again. And it's kind of paying off. I do get a different kind of interaction on Instagram. So it is starting to be kind of moved that way. But Facebook is where most of the crowdfunding came from. Let me just check. I've got it open. It was over 50%, nearly 55% of the pledges came from Facebook. So, and I sort of knew that was going to happen. So I probably used, between Instagram and Facebook, shared a lot of the same content during the crowdfunder. You know, just kind of mined that community, I suppose, and interacted with that community lots, and tried to keep the conversation going now, obviously, as well as updates and things need to happen. So
yeah, I think it is really important to see the differences in your audience as well, because especially early on, when you are first starting your sort of business social media, it is much easier to just post the same content on whichever platforms you're on. But as you start to grow those platforms, it does tend to become like, right, these kinds of people are on Facebook, and these kinds of people are following me on Instagram. Maybe these people are on Twitter. So even though you might be speaking to the same quote people, the same group with each network, there are different people from each group following you on different networks, and tapping into the difference is so important if you then want to continue to grow on each platform individually. And I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with, to begin to differentiate their sort of what's going on Facebook, what's going on Instagram, what's going on Twitter, what's going on somewhere else. So how did you, before we started talking, you said you weren't really that big on stats. So how have you sort of differentiated those things, or has it been a sort of a personal choice to move Instagram to a more sort of young, hip, queer music vibe and keep Facebook as a more professional music cishet men vibe?
I love that differentiation. I mean, I never put words like that on it, but yeah. I mean, it's a very new thing for me, and I'm like the bad student here, Alexis. One thing as well that listeners should know is that I'm a proper lurker. So I've been mainly lurking in Alexis's groups, and I take part occasionally. But basically, I'm there just to kind of go, oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I'll have that. And I am honestly, just a little side note, I think that the stats stuff is something that I do need to get my head around more, mainly from a point of view of, we know that works, so keep doing that kind of thing, or, you know, make more of that content. I just put stuff out there, and I do judge it on the likes. I'm so sorry. This is what you say all along. Vanity metrics. It's that instant hit of people like me, and let's just be honest. It is good to get a lot of likes, but yeah, I very rarely, and only because of your 101 training, did I actually go and look at the insights. So I do that a bit more now, since I did that training with you. And it has made me think, to be fair, actually, joking aside, I have thought a bit more about my IGTVs don't seem to do as well as I thought they would. So I put up just short videos, just kind of like normal length videos now. And it might just be an excerpt from a longer video that's on YouTube. And my call to action is, if you're enjoying it, the full thing's on YouTube. I don't track whether people actually go and look at that. I don't know how, actually, but it doesn't really bother me if people don't go to my YouTube, because there isn't really a call to action other than watch my video. And if you've watched that little bit and you've liked it on Instagram, the kind of psychological hit is already there. That's kind of how I feel about it. But if it's something more promotional, like for instance at Christmas I did a range of new tune books that are pamphlets of music, and I do videos as well. So if you don't read sheet music, you can watch the video and you can learn from me that way. And I've got like a little mini studio set up here with proper lights and stuff, and I did a professional looking job of that. So I wanted to put some excerpts of those videos up, and sort of had a little promotional campaign of just images and these little videos just talking about the tunes that people would be doing. And that was a kind of a different push. I don't know if that answers your question. I feel like I've been quite open and honest there. But yeah, I know that it is, I think one of the things I had on my mind to say here is that a lot of the basics of social media, because I've grown up with it, I'm like a millennial through and through, it doesn't overwhelm me. It doesn't kind of scare me, to try things and just put some stuff out there. But it's how social media has obviously evolved. Into like a business tool and looking at the stats. I guess I'm not very mathsy, numbersy. It really doesn't sort of suit my personality and my brain type. But it is something that I know if I understood it better and understood what that meant for my creative outputs, I think it would probably do me better, which is where I'm moving very slowly towards coming back to you for some proper help there. So yeah, look out for that email.
Very excited for that email. Very good. Yeah, I think it is really common though that people don't understand stats, and whenever I do stats training, everybody is always like, oh, I didn't realize that was a thing. I didn't know that was important. Like the difference between reach and impressions, people have no clue. They assume they're similar, or they think they're entirely like people don't know. And the platforms do a terrible job of explaining it with good reason, because they want to be able to massage the statistics. Like, one of the stats that bothers me the most is video views. Because, wow, can you mislead people with video view statistics? Most of them are based on 3 seconds watch time. And, like, to me, that's not a video view. That's, I went to the toilet and came back and a video was playing, and then I turned it off. You know, like, that's not a video view. What?
Or you scrolled and the dog bit you a little bit, so it pauses and it's like, oh, I didn't really want to watch that.
Yeah, it is so frustrating. And this is what, like, personally, I think is twisting the video is the big thing sort of narrative. Because, well, yeah, it is if you count 3-second views. But if you check the sort of minute views, it is dramatically lower. For basically all my clients, it is dramatically lower. And I think most people will find the same. And I think if you were going just by those minute watch statistics, totally different story about video on social media specifically. Not so much YouTube. But yeah, for social media generally, it is, videos are not as big a deal as people want you to think. That's not to say videos aren't awesome. If you like doing videos, do videos. That's fabulous. But yeah, like, so many people are hung up on the video thing because everybody's talking about how awesome video is. But like, it's not, don't panic about it. It's fine. You don't have to do video.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you say about IGTV as well, because I'm a fan of IGTV, I have to say, because of the links. Because you get clickable links in IGTV descriptions. But I noticed a massive difference between if that IGTV video is posted also to the feed versus only to IGTV. And again, if it's published to stories.
Oh, okay.
The other nice thing about IGTV, though, I will say, is it gives you the swipe up. Yeah. Even if you don't have 10,000 followers, you can add the link, the swipe up link, to any of your IGTV videos. So if you're one of those people who wants to swipe up, that's a little workaround. Post to IGTV.
Hey, other lurkers out there, other fellow lurkers, there's lots of lurk treasure going on right here. I'm just kind of mentally noting this down.
Honestly, though, I think it's nice that you lurk, because as much as, like, yes, I would love you to leave more comments and things, but it's nice to hear you then say, like, I spot these little tidbits and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to implement that. Because really that's what bothers me, is I want people to take on the information and run with it. So it is nice to see people do that. And I remember at Christmas you saw my, like, I'm not going to be here, I'm on holiday, here's where you can find me and the things you can buy from me, and you were like, hey, can I sort of reuse this post?
Pretty much word for word. No, I don't plagiarize, but I was like, that's a really good idea. It's a good way of saying Merry Christmas, but buy my shit. And yeah, I think that looking at the way that you are a human on social media, but it's not always there, but actually I don't know, rough percentage of 60% of your content has always got some and I do this professionally, you know, here's my products kind of thing. I don't know if that feels right for you, but I kind of see that there is this narrative, this communication, this line that I'm attracted to by who you are as a person, and I think that's super important. You know, that's your whole thing, and I think that you know, more people need to be like that in life, really. I mean, you know, we're all here as humans just experiencing the world, particularly this year, a lot through screens like we are now. But learning and adapting to how you can better create communication, communities and conversation is really important. And I think one of the big things that I've learned myself, and I tell people that ask me how I do stuff on social media, and I don't proclaim to be an expert at all, but as a person that's happy to create stuff, I just say, make stuff, put it out there, see how it does, by the likes. But I tell them differently now. And I have, honestly, jokes aside, I've mentioned you to a few people to say, if you want to know more about this stuff, because I don't, go and talk to Alexis, you know, follow and lurk and buy her stuff. So I am in the background, you know, I'm lurking, but I'm telling people about you. And yeah, I think it's just important not to lose face. You know, it's a lot of effort to create content. It's massive. It's a huge amount of planning and actual sitting down making content. And you can feel quite it's easy to feel disheartened if something doesn't fly, if you think it's a really good idea. But it's just keep trying and keep finding ways of I've got a few like catchphrases and things that I use consistently that run through the way I teach. I've got an online course, and the language that I use there is the same language I'd use if I was teaching you in person, in a group, individually. It's written down in my tune books, you know, so there's this kind of consistent flow. But I only found that through trial and error. You know, I just kind of found what stuck. So if you're at the beginning of your journey, it feels like an uphill battle, but just keep trying. Just keep picking yourself up and try something different the next day. Share it to some different groups. Yeah, you know, I think that's really important, and particularly with crowdfunding as well. Obviously, you kind of want to go in with a bit more of a strategy. But if you've got 30 days, that's 30 attempts. Although I'd like to think that you would have more of an idea of what your target audience are expecting, I suppose. But there's still a bit of trial and error in there. I think room for it anyway.
Yeah. No, I do. And like, I tend to say, suck it and see. I don't know why I say that, but that appears to be the thing I always say. Because yeah, social media is so much about just trying stuff. Even when you have tons of stats and you've been on social media for ages and you've got a good idea of who your audience is, it changes. It changes because of what's going on in other people's lives, in the world, seasonal changes, all sorts of stuff will make a difference. So you have to be prepared. If you want to go in with like a hard strategy and be like, right, I'm going to post these things and that's it, and I've designed this plan and that's what's going to happen, it won't work. Like, you have to be ready to change stuff. You can't be really attached to any of your content, because some stuff that you are really passionate about and you spend ages on it and you think this is the post, this is the one that's going to go viral, and you're going to post it and get tumbleweed. But equally, you're going to knock something up in 5 minutes and be like, oh my God, I haven't posted anything this week. Oh, I need to get something out there. And it's going to be like half-assed, and you're going to post it and you are going to get an influx of comments and DMs and people sharing it and being like, this is awesome. Oh yeah, this is great. And you're going to be like, what? I'm sorry, what?
I think a really good example of this is two things. So the thing that took a lot of energy, a lot of time, was a series of like documentary videos that I did for my trio. The project that we did in 2019, which we launched, and then last year happened and we lost all of our gigs. So we've launched a new album that's now nearly 2 years old. But it was a project about a local woman in Derby. If you want to read more about it, the framed the Alice Wealdon story by Morai. Have a little look on my social medias for that. But yeah, I wanted like the making of page to stage journey, I called it. And I did it all. I filmed it. We talked about it to camera. Each of us, the 3 members of the band, did a little bit to camera. And I wanted this series of like videos to be like, this is the story behind this, you know, in more words than we can type about. And I thought that was going to be great. Loads of people were going to be interested. Barely any views on YouTube. Great, brilliant. But it's there for future. That's kind of the way I wanted it to be, like a time capsule. The Wellerman, the sea shanty that went viral this January. I just thought, oh, that's trending. Why not? I'm a folk artist. Sea shanties, they go together. I got my phone out, put it here next to me on the computer, and I filmed it on my phone. It's not great quality audio or visual, but I've got nearly 6,000 views on YouTube in a couple of months, which is, for me, good. You know, my YouTube channel is growing. So I was like, yeah. And it's brought loads of attraction because obviously everyone knows about the Wellerman. So, I've done on my Patreon now a few Melinars, I call them, Mellodion webinars. And I did one this month on the Wellerman, and I posted some sheet music. So, you know, I've had people coming in to buy that off me. So that's been a really like a very quick, no effort required video. You know, so just to sort of back up what you were saying there, you know, sometimes the things that just the easiest things to do will do the best for you. Jump on some trends, you know, that's a really good thing.
Yeah, it is such a big thing too, and this is another reason that I see a lot of people talking about you shouldn't schedule your social media stuff because you need to be able to be reactive to what's going on. I disagree on the not scheduling stuff, because I think you can schedule and be reactive to stuff, but it is a really good way to bring in some new people, is to jump on a trend of some description. And I would say, though, don't just jump on any trend, because I do see some people trying to force their promotional stuff into some entirely irrelevant things.
Square pegs and round holes, yeah.
Yeah, and they're the posts that I read and I'm like, oh, that is awkward. But yeah, there are a lot of trends that you can talk about that even if they're sort of loosely related. But yeah, it is really helpful to jump on stuff if it's trending on the internet generally. And memes, personalizing a meme, another great way to do it, if you're sort of creative in that way. Yeah, just to put yourself out there to different people, because when stuff is trending, it's going beyond the initial niche audience that might have started it going out there. So it is going to expose you to some new people, and inevitably some of those people are going to see the rest of your stuff and be like, oh, this is quite cool. I could go for some of this.
Yeah, it's that kind of I was going to say baiting, but that's a really bad word to use for so many reasons. But it's that kind of little bit of like, come eat my cookies, you know, and it's like you're kind of tempting them in.
Come to the dark side. We have cookies. Yeah, it is. I think it's just a way to, because as long as this thing you're putting out on that topic is in some way similar to what you are generally putting out. Obviously, if you're creating something that is entirely separate to what you usually create to get it out there, that is not going to be beneficial in the long run, because people are going to come and find you through that post and see that everything else is different. But if you're putting it out in the same tone and everything of the stuff that you usually create, and it just happens to be relevant to that trending topic, they see that because it's trending, and then they see the rest of your stuff and it's all in line. So they are prepared by that initial post to know what they're going to get, and then they get what you've promised them, which is really important. So don't sort of try and be cool and trendy just to jump on a trending topic. Yeah. I mean, if you're cool and trendy, be cool and trendy. That's great. I am neither cool nor trendy. So yeah, don't stay authentic to your persona and your general content. But yeah, do make the most of those trending topics when they come up.
Top tip.
Mm-hmm.
Or lurk treasure there for you guys. Lurk treasure. I don't know, is there a term? Lurk treasure sounds pretty good to me.
That is a really good term, I have to say. If there isn't, I haven't heard a word, but if there isn't a word, that should be it.
Brilliant.
Well, it has been very, very lovely to chat to you.
The time has flown.
Yeah, I will put all the links to everything you have mentioned so far in the show notes. That's a word I'm looking for. So yeah, just to remind everybody where they can find you on social media.
So I am on predominantly Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and sometimes Twitter, although you might be talking to my mum. That's probably a bad thing. I'll talk to you about that, Alexis. But it's all at Mel Biggs Music. That's BIGGS Music. And my album is From Darkness Comes Light, and it will be out in May. And you can read more about that on melbiggsmusic.co.uk.
Very good. I will put all of those links in the show notes, so you can click all the links and follow Mel everywhere, especially if you are a queer folk musician. Yay, the queer folk musician.
Find me. Love me. I'm not desperate.
So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much, and genuinely thank you for what you do. You help a lot of people, and I probably have never said that to you because I lurk and don't comment, but there will be many more like me, I'm sure. So thank you.
Thank you.
A big thank you to Louise, who is our first patron. They are supporting the show on Patreon. If you would like to do the same, you can donate any amount you like each month on Patreon. Or you can join the Social Media for Humans Club if you are a business owner, where you will get access to loads of courses and support and inspiration and bonus trainings and lots of good stuff to help you with your social media as a business. And if you do not have a business, we have a club for individuals as well, which offers you some journal prompts, action steps, and things like that based on each podcast episode, and also some other bonus fun community stuff. So if you want to support the podcast, we would love to have you in one of the clubs or on Patreon. Thanks.
If you want more regular reminders to find your own way to use social media, follow Alexis on your social platform of choice. All the links will be in the show notes. Until next time, be a human.